While we await that piece of information, all this week in this time slot around 4:40, we're going to introduce or reintroduce you to some of my favorite teachers and leaders. Some of them recently met, others known for a long time. But all of them have shown us and shown me, and hopefully you, how to get a lot more for a lot less. While they all do something different, each guest this week, they all have one thing in common. That you have a clear mission and a ruthless and compassionate culture in which they evaluate where they are and how they're going to get there before they go. In other words, they have ruthless mission analysis. They don't just start planning willy-nilly. It is this type of thinking that results in potentially stunning statistics. And today's statistic perhaps best tells the story. Imagine you were getting twice as much food for 90% less water and soil. And imagine that you understood the key discovery to achieve this was the exact right amount of water, soil, and light getting delivered to exactly the right locations for exactly the right amount of time, something that a farmer, let's say from the 1800s, could never figure out. It is this type of new thinking that we're seeing from healthcare to education to energy to crime prevention and obviously food that we've all been taught by community leaders and our fellow Americans that we met on this show. And so we have our wow, twice as much food, 90% less soil and water. We have our how, get the water to the right place at the right time, get the soil, get the sun. And the question is, how do we do more of it now, regardless of any other factors in our lives? How do we get more of that culture? This, our mission, as we move beyond talk, as we conclude the Dylan Ratigan Show and look to learn more from leaders like the folks I'm about to introduce you to. So joining us now, Iraq War veteran Sergeant Colin Archiplay, along with his wife Karen Archiplay. They started Archi Acres in San Diego to demonstrate, model, and teach returning veterans how they could do what Colin and Karen were doing. Use low-cost, hydroponic, organic farming techniques to get far more for far less, and in the process create incredible jobs for folks looking for work. Thanks for being a teacher for me, you guys. You were a more recent acquaintance, but you blew my mind, Colin. When we sat down, it was a month ago, and you started lecturing me when I met you. Tell everybody when you met me, the first thing you did was try to correct me. You get up in the front of the room in your suit. You look all farm-like now with your green shirt. It's all, I get it. But you tell them the truth, Colin. Tell them.
Well, met you at an entrepreneurial event, actually, and I think you posed the question that everybody's looking for who they is, and we hear all about who they is, and they doesn't exist. And I pretty much said I disagree with you, and I think they does exist, and it's that person that we look at in the mirror every day, and what is that person doing to make this place a better place to live?
And I corrected myself when you said that. You're right, and that's a question that you've been asking yourself. And it really has led you to this crusade, really, to teach and show how to get a lot more food for a lot fewer resources while simultaneously opening up an incredible career for a lot of people. How did you answer the question yourself as to your own them? Who am I, and how did you end up here?
Good question. I guess I didn't have those answers, but, I knew I needed to, for my own personal being, do something that made the livelihoods of my family and the livelihoods of the people around me, the people I care about who are, Marines and returning military people. What can we do to make them and their livelihoods better? And it was Karen's idea, well, how about teaching what we do? And what we did is we created a small-scale organic farm using hydroponics. Like you said, it's about 90% more water efficient, and the yields are much greater than conventional farming. And we designed an entrepreneurial training program for returning combat vets to help them transition into self-employment.
Karen, it's gone tremendous. I mean, how many people? You just graduated a bunch of folks. Walk us through now where you guys are.
Well, we have day one of our new class today, but we offer a 6-week training program to teach organic sustainable agriculture and agribusiness as a career.
And so what that looks like is we have industry leaders come in to include investors and bankers and so forth. And what we force the class to do is to develop a business plan and to present it to a panel that we put together of bankers, investors, and industry leaders for feedback. And we've developed postgraduate tracks to actually help these business plans not only be a concept, but become reality.
All right. Listen, I got it, Brian. I got it. So, listen, I'm getting a lot of cable news intensity here because the Roger Clemens verdict is out. I'm grateful that we were able to share your story, as it is my priority. But the priority today in the news business is the Roger Clemens verdict. We'll put more about Karen and Colin on the web. But in the meantime, we're off to Pete Williams for the verdict on Roger Clemens.
And the verdict is not guilty, Dylan, not guilty on all counts after a 9-week trial in which Roger Clemens, the baseball pitching great, the 7-time Cy Young Award winner, was charged with lying to Congress 4 years ago when he told a Senate staff and then the Senate committee hearing that he had not used either steroids or human growth hormones. He denied using performance-enhancing drugs. He was charged with lying to Congress. His first trial ended in a mistrial, and today the federal court jury, after about an hour and a half of deliberations, has found him not guilty on all 6 counts. So that's it. It's a big victory for Roger Clemens. It's a setback for the Justice Department's long-running attempt to investigate and prosecute the use of steroids in Major League sports. You may remember that a trial of Barry Bonds in San Francisco last year fizzled out. He was sentenced to home detention. Then the Justice Department investigated and decided not to prosecute Lance Armstrong, although Armstrong now faces allegations from the anti-doping agency. But this is a big victory for Roger Clemens. This long cloud that's been over his head for 2 years is now removed. And, Dylan, we expect to hear from him a little later when he comes outside the courthouse here in Washington with his lawyer to talk.
All right. Thank you very much, Pete. I don't know if Karen and Colin are still with me. Are you guys there? Okay, you are. So welcome to the cable news business, my friends. We're going to do some farming and some Roger Clemens. There's something that really struck me that goes beyond all of this, which is that both of you are correlating the accessibility of sustainable food supplies and the accessibility of the awareness of how to create and generate sustainable food supplies on limited water, limited land, which is really the situation in the world, that has an association with global security. Colin, make that connection for me.
Yeah, and you really hit it with water. Nobody's really talking about access to water, but access to water is a huge issue here in Southern California. We probably pay the most expensive water in the world. But as you look, globally and how places like China are shifting water and it's going to be cut off from neighboring nations, and that's going to create tension because, there's things in life that you don't need and there's things in life that you have to have, and water as food is one of them. And it's going to be growing tensions between nations because of the access to those rights. And the 6-Day War and the rights to the Janian River is already proof of that concept.
Karen, what do you think is the barrier to more farms, period, working under the sort of technology that you guys are modeling right now at Archi's Acres, and for that matter are training returning veterans and non-veterans alike to do? In other words, why do we not have more farms that look some version of what you guys are teaching and modeling?
Well, we're working on it. We're working on rolling them out. I would say a lot of the entrepreneurs that come out of our program, the main barrier was financial. And we've really been able to bridge that working with Farm Service Agency, and that for us is a big plus because it's making it possible for someone to set up their crop production with a loan that's actually for farmers.
But I'd like to add that, in the past, our food distribution model has been reliant on centralized distribution points run by large-scale operations, a lot of corporate farms. There hasn't been, in recent years, a marketplace for small-scale farmers to get the products in the markets. But that's changing primarily because of the demand from the consumer is they want to buy local, American-made products, and it's given a new opportunity for, startup farms.
This is not that complicated. In other words, if somebody wanted to learn how to do this, so let's say I have no idea how to do this, right? And there are a lot of us who have no idea how to do this, but we look at you guys and we look at Colin, and we're like, well, gee, a real man knows how to grow his own vegetables, and I don't know how to grow my own vegetables, and I want to be a real man. So how do I learn how to do that? And what is the key thing you think that you understand as a Marine veteran and as a farmer that the rest of us don't?
Well, I'd say, for one, you got to be willing to take a risk. And I think that's even true from an entrepreneur or even as someone looking to take a new job. In this economy, you got to be willing to take risk. Second of all, and we welcome you, Dylan, to come out and take our training program.
I want to do it.
The thing what we do, you're welcome to come out. And I think the thing that we teach that is great about our program is you can be the best crop producer in the world, but if you don't know how to market your crop, you don't know how to balance your books and do all the things it takes to run a business, you're going to fail. And that happens to, college grads all the time. And so we really bridge the gap of here's the tools that you need to understand how to grow crops. Here's the tools you need how to be aggressive in the marketplace.
Yeah, and then the science, Karen, if a farmer in the 1800s wanted to do this would be much harder to pull off than it is in 2012. Can you give us a little bit of a sense of what the new tools are that you're able to benefit from?
Well, I mean, I would say that the technology is not new. Hydroponics has been around since the floating, Aztec gardens or the, Babylon. So, I mean, it's been around a long time. So what we do is we teach how to utilize hydroponic crop production, but also we work closely with Whole Foods Market, which has been a tremendous bonus because they'll accept new crop producers. So before someone actually plants their seed, we're actually able to make sure that that crop is sold.
Yeah. And Dylan, in the past, particularly in the United States, we've always been fairly rich in natural resources and in cheap labor. And that's another reason why hydroponics and greenhouses hasn't taken off. But now, again, with places like Southern California not having water and natural resources and labor being harder to find, that's where technology like this becomes more of a need.
Yeah, it makes extraordinary sense. Again, I may well take you up on the offer for school this fall or shortly thereafter, if not sooner. So
you're welcome.
Yeah, and more. Regardless, I mean, really, the inspiration that the two of you have provided by simply living your life and allowing other people to see it and to realize that you can make new decisions in new ways to get new outcomes simply by being ruthless enough to do it is a profound message. And I congratulate both of you on that, and thank you for being a teacher for me.
Well, thank you, Dylan. And just one last thing is we do it for selfish reasons. We get to work with the best people on the planet every day, and that's veterans of the recent wars, and we appreciate that.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I think that we all see it and appreciate your leadership as we look to our veterans to take us on the next mission here. Thank you.